Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Job Shop USA. My name is Keith and we're here in my machine shop, Turn Right Machine Works. Today we're going to try something a little different. And this is going to be no different than anything else that I've learned or experienced for the first time in the last 50 years. Over the years of plasma cutting and running the plasma table, I've acquired a copper collection. Majority of it is these nozzles and these electrodes. I do have a lot of other copper that comes about in the shop time to time. I've actually snipped off the electrode in so that the tungsten or the hard material on the tip of that is removed. Not to say that over the years I might have missed one or two. So anyhow, we picked up small 10 kg Devel Forge and we've got that set up. I've already taken the 10 kg crucible and I put it in the oven over here at 500 degrees and I pre-baked it at that temperature. Then I put it in and I lit off the furnace and we burned off and prepped the furnace. Of course, this was a coating of material I had to put over the ceramic insulation in there, and then that got fired off as well. So everything's ready, set to go. I got the rest of my safety gear here to get on. I got this for long sleeves, and I'm wearing pants today instead of shorts. This is not just a one-off planning to use the furnace just to smelt the copper that I have here. I also want to be able to smelt aluminum and I already do Babbitt in my other smaller temperature furnace, and I'm sufficient with Babbitt and lead. So we're going to learn a little bit on here. I have two other furnaces, small electric furnaces, that I'll be able to do silver, more copper, and also gold in those as well. But I want to really get my taste on the higher heat furnace and running the propane unit and sort of get my experience there. And we're going to learn a lot. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm about ready to start it. All right, I have two sets of molds that I'm going to pour my smelted material into once I prep the material ready to pour, and those are sitting in my oven over there at 500 degrees. I figured it couldn't hurt to have them preheated. Two of the molds I just made today, and two of them are molds that I picked up probably at a flea market or a yard sale or something like that over the years. I found them in my stuff lately, and I went ahead and ran them in a bee blaster, prepped them out, and then I smoked them all. I don't know if you'd actually need to smoke them all, but I did it just because I'm so used to smoking things that I don't want things to stick to. And so whether I actually need to or not, I went ahead and did that. So they're hot and they're smoked and ready to go. All right, I'm going to light off the furnace, and we have a little bit of copper already in the pot there. We don't want to fill it up too much. We want to get it melting, and then we're going to see about how we're going to drop these in through the hole in the top and stuff like that. So everything is brand new to us, so this is a new experience. I've watched plenty of other people on videos, and I've watched quite a few segments, and see if I can do this with success. I've got my ventilation on over at the plasma tables where my big exit fan's at, and I've lit the furnace off and we're bringing it on up to temperature. first layer or the first amount that I put in there is actually starting to shrink down in there. So that means it's melting underneath there. And I can still see the shapes on some of the top parts there. So once that gets down in there and I can see how much scum or whatever's on the surface there, I'll know about scraping it off. I really didn't know what kind of a tool to use or whatever, but I made myself up a little tool here. We'll see if it's any good. Kind of got it at the right angle so I can get in there or whatever. I know about scraping the dross of lead and Babbitt and that kind of thing, so I kind of anticipated it to be about the same. We added some more and it's melted there. I've learned if you're going to lift the lid, you might as well turn the heat down. It's not like it's going to harden up on you. It's pretty hot in there. All right, it looks like my crucible is about, between a quarter and a third full. I'm gonna add in a little bit more. I wanna try to at least get a half a crucible because I think that's about adequate as far as how many molds I got to be able to pour this into. That's also about half of each of my barrels here. I couldn't have guessed any closer than that. Whew. Exciting, fun, dangerous, all in one. You know, besides my girlfriend, I think that was the hottest thing I've ever handled. All right, let's bring you in a little bit, and we're gonna dump these over, and we're gonna see if we can see the top side. Right now it's the bottom side, but when you set them there, it'll be the top. You know, this is the ugly side. All right, let's zoom in here. These are the molds I got from the flea market or wherever, and these are my homemade molds. We're going to dump these out first. And they say fills, and there we go. And they all look pretty good. Once they cool down, we'll be able to average out a weight that we get with these sections. All right, now let's go ahead. Let's see if first if it releases as well as that. Might have to go into mold designing here. I thought the channel would have enough slant on it. Okay, it's coming out. There we go. Oh, I made a male section in there and then tacked it with a couple rods here, and it looks like the copper got underneath that, and that's probably why what's sticking this one in here as well. There we go. All right, and there's the insert. Basically, you can see it sitting right there, and we're going to see if we can pry that out of there, at least maybe without. I'll put something underneath there so when we pry it, we don't bend the copper, but it looks like it rose underneath the center of it, and so we probably should have we had it held with two sections out there, but we should have had a couple there in the middle, and maybe it wouldn't have went underneath that. All right, I'm gonna find something to help peel those out of there, and then we'll at least see what the intentions were to do. All right, I did some general cleanup after I peeled out the lettering that I made that went into my molds, and we had a learning experience there. All right, these are the molds here. I think on my second batch there, I'm actually going to try it without smoking these, and we're going to see if that makes a difference on how clean they come out of the mold here. Top side actually kind of shows that the shit flowed on the top, and also too the air got to this, and that's the actual surface that catches the air first, and that's where all the shit is. This is the last little bit that you saw me pour into this side channel over here after I had poured this. So that's pretty close. That was just a driblet, and I wanted to make sure that everything was out of the crucible. They say never leave anything in your crucible, and that's why I dumped it out right in there. So this table actually has the benefit of that little edge there. Plus, I think I'm going to have a sheet that sits on this end here for pouring, because if it lands or faults onto the sheet, it will run and it'll hit the trough on the side there. Worst case scenario. less that would go onto your shoes. Even though those were stuck in there, we did get our results we wanted on our 2 ingots here. Tomorrow we'll bring these into the scale and we'll kind of weigh them out, and then we'll probably stamp somewhere on them the actual weight of them, and we'll finish cleaning this crap off the back side here. This is my little scooper. Looks like that's kind of like just sitting on the back side there. Oh, that did just break off. I don't know if the stuff on the front side is even going to come off. Oh yeah, it will. It almost seemed like you could put a round rod, straight round rod down there, and it would just stick to it, and then you bring it out, and that would be okay. And we'll use it a little bit more. It's a lot different with higher heat materials than doing a Babbitt pour or lead pour, for sure, because that would never stick to this at all, or you could just warm it and get it off of there. Anyhow, the design, the handle, and the angle, that was all good. My apron, my fellow Indians here on the Cape run a leather shop, and I asked them to make this. I purchased an apron, and I got some woke design. It was a joke. And this wide band right here is real comfortable across the back of the neck, and good laces, tie. This is good rawhide. This is top grade, and I feel really safe behind it. It's my first apron. I didn't want any pockets. I didn't want anything to catch anything. I still have my wooden box here. I'm actually going to be putting a lot of my casting tools and stuff like that in here. I haven't quite decided where it is. I've been doing a lot of organizing in the last actually, you know, it's been a while since I had a video, and it's because I've done a lot of upgrades here in the shop. And one of the biggest upgrades, and I'm going to be showing you here soon, is I did a major upgrade on the plasma cutter. We went from 60 amps to 120 amps. We went from a handheld torch to a stick torch. And we also jacked up the table 3 1/4 inches, the rails, and moved it over 5/8 of an inch and back 1.5 inches to compensate for the stick torch. And we'll have a couple other things there. I'm not going to get in real close to it now. And the screen and computer and the power supply is all changed around as well. I had to pull out the power leads. I think number 6 or number 4 is the wire I had running to the plasma cam all the way back to the power panel. I pulled that all out and I chased through number 2. And we're running 125 amp on that thing. That sucker screams. It just powderizes metal now. I can do standard pierce 3/4 inch thick now, and production pierce, I should say. And my thickness is increased, and the cut quality is far superior. I've been playing with the water jet here lately, and I also upgraded my 3D scanner. Once again, I upgraded the software this time, and I'm going to be bringing you in on that because some of the parts on Pearl I've been playing with and 3D scanning and creating the parts and water jetting them out, and then we're going to be putting them in basically on some of the other parts. The plasma cam I was waiting on, and the reason why Pearl kind of stopped on that cross lead screw and the nuts is I need a steady rest for the closing, and we're going to be manufacturing that steady rest and getting done with that lead screw, and we'll continue on that. All right. I thank you very much for coming in and watching me do my first pour. I don't know if copper was the best one. I know I want to do aluminum and a few other alloys as well. And I have the learning curve. Even 1/8 of an inch, you've got to plan for your draft. It's got to be a full release on there. You can't have any hidden dovetails or anything that's going to get there. The main problem was, I think, the center of that lettering that I put in there, because I was only holding it down at both ends. The heat rose up, the copper went underneath, and once that cools, there's no way. There's no way. I'm lucky that I only drilled a 16th hole and ran a 16th welding a TIG wire through there and welded it on both sides, so it was really only held by a 1/16 of an inch of TIG wire, and that's why I was able to get it free. And then I just peeled that out of there. And hey, it's all a lesson. It wasn't expensive for the lesson I got. And hey, drop a comment in there and throw me some tips, whatever you like to you say. Anyway, till next time, get her done.